Dear friends, welcome to the place where dreams stop being fantasies and start walking beside us. You're tuned into secrets behind the stars, your doorway to the most genuine emotions in showbiz. Today, I want you to breathe with me. Steady, deep, and hopeful. Because what we're about to reveal isn't just a headline, it's the culmination of a path we've all followed, heartbeat by heartbeat. If you ever doubted that life imitates the sweetest scripts, if you ever thought the spark between Cenk Torun and Mahassine Merabet was limited to cameras and interviews, prepare to have your heart gently rearranged. Reality has overtaken fiction with a grace so luminous that language wobbles trying to hold it. What unfolded last night, inside a private residence kissed by the Bosphorus, is now forever part of the story we share. At last, after months of waiting, whispers, sidelong glances, and carefully guarded hopes, the great riddle has been solved. We have the wedding date of the year. Before we step into this sanctuary of joy, join our celebration. If you believe that always is more than a word, show your love, subscribe to stay close to every moment, and for those who want front row intimacy with every development, the join button is there just for you. Ready to tear up in the best way? Let's begin. Close your eyes and picture it. Istanbul, the city where longing and destiny meet, offering her most serene face. It wasn't an ordinary evening. The sky was clear, pricked with stars that seemed to lean closer, curious and kind, as if the universe itself had RSVP'd yes. The setting wasn't merely a dining room but a historic villa at the edge of the Bosphorus, where time moves thoughtfully and the past hums under your fingertips, where the sea breath laces itself with night-blooming jasmine. There, Cenk Torun, gentleman to the core, meticulous in matters of the heart, chose to write a chapter he has quietly prepared for all his life. Cenk, famous for being both private and precise, planned everything. He wanted the meeting of both families to be smooth, sheltered, and glowing, far from the whir of lenses and speculation, in a space where only sincerity mattered. Sources close to the couple shared glimpses of a room adorned in near weightless elegance, flowers everywhere. Lilies, roses, orchids, white as vows, suggesting the clarity of what they feel, with hundreds of candles offering a soft radiance that felt almost like a blessing. Candlelight slipped across crystal and silver, throwing warm constellations onto their faces and hinting at the magic about to bloom. The air hummed with a gentle, anticipatory electricity. When Mahassine Merabet's parents arrived, the importance of the moment filled every breath. Mahassine, poised yet unguarded, couldn't hide how moved she was. People who were there talk of a beauty that doesn't depend on fabric or makeup, but on the certainty of a woman stepping into her future with open eyes. She wore a simple, refined dress, and her fingers locked with Cenk's, holding on as if his palm were a harbor in a silvery tide of feelings. Naturally, nerves brushed her. She wondered how each parent would react when they heard the decision they were about to share, worried that her emotions might step ahead of her words. But Cenk, with that steady warmth he is known for, centered her. Just before they crossed through the carved wooden doors, he stopped, looked into her eyes, the eyes that have rearranged his priorities, and whispered something that felt like a promise folded into a poem. Don't be afraid, my love. Tonight our always stops being a dream and becomes our plan. Nothing and no one will touch the smile on your face. How could a sentence be so gentle and so strong? Not just comfort, but a vow. With trust settling into their bones, hand in hand, they stepped in, letting tension melt into expectation. At first the evening moved in a respectful hush, almost shy. The families knew each other, yet the gravity of the night added a new hush to their voices. Then, as love tends to do, it softened the edges. Between courses of Turkish flavors reimagined with modern tenderness, barriers dissolved. Laughter grew like a tide. Childhood anecdotes, about Cenk's first editions, about little habits of Mahassine that still make her parents smile, poured out, building a bridge from what had been to what would be. In their children they no longer saw two celebrities balancing calendars, but two real people who found home in one another. It was clear they were celebrating more than a wedding to be. They were honoring a union of histories and traditions, Turkish and North African threads woven together into one tapestry, a family story newly begun. Then came the turning point, quiet but utterly commanding, just as dessert arrived. The atmosphere seemed to grow denser and more intimate all at once. Cenk stood. He tapped his glass lightly. Silence gathered. Every gaze found him. Those who watched swear his voice quivered, not with doubt, but with the ache of emotion pressing against his chest. He was taking off his public armor and presenting his heart to those who mattered most. He looked first to Mahassine's parents with a deep respect, then to his own, and spoke, "Thank you for coming tonight, for carrying us with your faith through the noisy parts and the quiet ones. I know the road has not always been smooth. We've been tested by distance, by rumors, by everyone's expectations. But the love I feel for Mahassine is my compass. She isn't only my partner, she's the place I exhale, the calm at the center of the storm, my future. With your blessing, we've decided not to wait any longer than we must. We want to promise our lives to each other, before God and before you, next summer." Feel the weight of it? A compass. A declaration that without her, his direction would blur. And in a world that speeds past tradition, his asking for a blessing honored their roots and the families who raised them. At that, Mahassine's tears came, joy, relief, love that had nowhere left to hide. Radiant and shaking just enough to make her human, she rose and embraced Cenk, pressing her forehead to his chest for a moment before turning to her parents. "Mom, Dad, you taught me what love looks like when it's brave and patient. If I can hand my heart to Cenk so completely, it's because you showed me how to trust what is true. He is the man I prayed for. I am ready to be his wife." Applause broke like a wave. Some cried openly. Others pressed fingers to their lips. But the most striking image, the one that made time stop, was when both mothers stood and embraced. In that embrace lived acceptance, promise, and a new bond that stretched beyond ceremony. It was the maternal blessing, the seal that feels older than any contract and stronger than any speech. Now for what you've been begging to hear, the date. From the murmurs that drifted out of that glowing room, the couple chose a beautiful, symbolic moment. The ceremony will be in mid-August. Yes, a summer wedding, at the crest of the sun's long season, a celebration under night skies that keep their own secrets. August was chosen so that vows could be spoken outdoors, with the breeze off the water as witness and the sky itself as sealing. Picture it, warm air, flower fragrance, soft lights, music traveling across the Bosphorus, and promises threaded through a summer night. Planning has already begun. They're keeping details under wraps to preserve some wonder, but what we know hints at something grand with a personal heartbeat. Cenk wants Mahassine to have the fairy tale she deserves, and he's determined to make every detail reflect her. But in a small circle after dinner, she confided to close friends, "I don't need extravagance. I need us. I want a night that feels like joy we share, not a display. I want to dance until dawn with the people we love." That yearning for sincerity is exactly why fans adore her. Can you picture her in white? Will she drift in something soft and modern, or sweep into the room like a storybook princess? And Cenk in classic black, tailored to perfection? Tell us how you imagine it in the comments. If you want to follow every moment of the preparations, cake tastings, dress fittings, the final choice of venue, subscribe now so nothing slips past you. And for those who crave every whisper, every glimmer, the join button is waiting. This evening didn't just ink a date onto a calendar. It announced to anyone who doubted that Cenk and Mahassine's love is built to last. They've walked through criticism, set aside noise, stood steady through the friction that comes with fame and the shadows cast by speculation. If resilience had a face tonight, it looked like theirs, hands anchored together, eyes shining with a new peace. When they finally left the residence, a few photographers who had waited at a respectful distance caught a moment worth 1,000 frames. Cenk opened the car door for Mahassine with that old-school elegance of his. Before she slipped inside, he stilled her with a touch, brushed a kiss against her forehead, and in that gesture lived reverence, shelter, and limitless tenderness. In this culture, a forehead kiss is a vow quietly spoken, "You are my honor, my care, my life." Of course, the internet did what the internet does, only this time, with pure happiness. News of the mid-August wedding raced across timelines. Fans began organizing group messages, tribute videos, and sweet surprises that will no doubt flood their world. There's a sense that we've all been invited to the warm edge of their story. We watched them charm us on screen and on stage, we held our breath through rumors and silence, and now we get to witness something that feels like the happiest arc in a series we never want to end, only this time, it isn't scripted. It's the start of their life together. Cenk's family is already sketching out the guest list, and the talk is that familiar faces from film and music alike will be there. Meanwhile, Mahassine's family is gently, excitedly searching for the dress. Just saying it sends shivers. August feels far away and almost within reach in the same breath. Dear friends, we are witnessing an event that will be remembered long after the music fades. Cenk, Torun and Mahassine Merabet have turned doubt into faith and faith into plans. This dinner among those they love most was the closing note of their courtship and the first beat of a countdown filled with champagne bubbles and sunrise rehearsals. We at Secrets Behind the Stars will be your eyes and ears, your shadow in the wings. We will follow every development, from invites to cake flavors, from music selection to those small tokens that tell a love story without a single word. If this news warmed your heart, if you believe in what they've built, share the joy. Tell everyone that love, real, patient, resilient love, has taken center stage. Subscribe and tap the bell, because the walk to the altar has begun, and we're going to live every step together. Thank you for being with us in this luminous moment. A long embrace from all of us. Long live the future newlyweds. More soon, and until then, keep your hearts open to the beautiful things headed our way.